Welcome to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, the show that brings you man-on-the-street interviews, celebrity guests, groundbreaking research, and heartwarming stories about the reasons we smile. Our show is also known as everything you've always wanted to know about dentistry, but were too numb to ask. Hello, I'm General Dentist Dr. Kvitko, and thank you for joining me today.
The following views and opinions do not necessarily reflect those of this station, its staff, management, or parent company. To hear a replay of this show or one of the great shows that previously aired, log on to thereasonswesmile.com or iTunes, keyword Dr. Kvitko or The Reasons We Smile. Listeners should not use Dr. Kvitko's comments and advice in place of an actual dental exam.
Brighten your life with a smile that shows the professional touch of Dr. Kvitko.
Time now for The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko. Call 459-9769 to discuss your dental issues. Now, here's your host, Dr. Kvitko.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Reasons We Smile. I'm Dr. Kvitko. Thank you so much for joining me. This is episode 610, and I'm happy to say that in the studio with me is Greg Bixler, co-founder and CEO of Design Outreach. Before we bring Greg on the line, though, before we get him on the microphone, let me remind you, in about 10 minutes, we're going to give away free flowers. They'll be from DeSantis Florist. Also, if you want to access past episodes, they're all available at thereasonswesmile.com. If you go to my office Facebook page and like us, that would be awesome. It's Dr. Kvitko and Associates, and we're streaming live on Facebook. So, Greg, give a little wave there. So there we go. Okay. And so let me just tell you a little bit about Greg. And I actually saw a presentation that he gave to the Clintonville Rotary about, was it 2 weeks ago, I think, right? 2 weeks ago. So, Greg Bixler, PhD, PE, is a co-founder of and CEO of Design Outreach. He also teaches engineering courses at The Ohio State University, including appropriate technology for developing countries. He started his engineering career at Battelle, where he managed interdisciplinary teams of engineers working on a variety of R&D programs. Dr. Bixler came up with the idea for DO, which is the short version of Design Outreach, in 2007 after seeing extreme poverty up close and personal in Central Asia and realizing that he could help alleviate suffering using his engineering talents. In 2010, he co-founded Design Outreach. His endeavors have led him to 25 countries, all while serving as CEO of DO. You're the resident director for the OSU Service Learning Program and advisor for Ohio State University's student chapter of Engineers Without Borders. Dr. Bixler was employed at Battelle before returning to complete his doctoral research in mechanical engineering at Ohio State University. In his free time, he serves as an elder in his local church and as chaplain for Grace Brethren Boys. He and his wife have 3 children. Greg, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
This is so cool. First of all, I didn't know what DO was. I've heard of BO, but I hadn't heard of DO. And the idea that you could, as an engineer, could do so much good, bring so many smiles. One of the reasons, this might be the biggest reason that we smile is what you're doing. So let's talk a little bit about that. Tell me what Design Outreach is and how it got started.
Yeah, thank you. So Design Outreach, we're a Christian humanitarian engineering organization. What we're doing is we're working to transform lives physically, economically, and spiritually by creating appropriate technology solutions to help people in developing countries, people that they don't have the basic things that they need, and often it's because the technologies that are available are not appropriate for those communities.
And so specifically you focused in on water.
Correct.
And it's, think about folks, every time we talk about something that NASA is doing, they're looking for water. Water is the basic necessity of life, correct?
Correct.
And if we don't have clean water, everything is different. We don't, what do you call it, the birth rate, not the birth rate, but the
mortality
rate, yeah, it goes high, right? And people are sick if they don't have clean water. People die if they don't have enough water. And then you mentioned, we'll get into it a little bit more, but you had mentioned even people learn better. They can form businesses because they have enough water for livestock. It just goes on and on. We'll get onto all of that here as time goes by. But yeah, so what you found then is that there are several parts of the world, these developing countries, that don't even have water, right?
That's right, which actually makes up hundreds of millions of people. Today, there's 840 million people that still don't have access to safe water. And what that means is just people that don't live within a half a kilometer of a water source. So it's not a person that has a sink in their home or a shower or a toilet. It's somebody who doesn't live within a half a kilometer of a place to get good water.
And I'm trying to think of the connection to miles. Let's see, is that less than half a mile?
Just under half a mile.
Just under half a mile? Okay. So having to walk half a mile to get water, walking half a mile is not hard. Walking back with a big jug of water is, though, because water is 8 pounds per gallon.
And a lot of times people are carrying 1 or 2 of these cans of water, jerry cans, and often they're making 2 or 3 checks a day, and it's usually the women and children.
Right.
And so the women and children have to do this, and it takes hours and hours every day out of their lives to get this water. And that's if they live within that close of a distance. Often people actually walk much further, and they don't get enough water
Right.
to do the basic things like beyond just drinking, things like growing a garden for food or keeping animals, which are huge problems when there's lack of water, there's lack of nutrition. When there's lack of water, like you mentioned, the kids, they don't have energy to go to school because they have to go collect the water. And to make matters even worse, the teachers themselves, they refuse to go to schools that don't have water.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Right.
Who would want to go somewhere that doesn't have water? And so even though there might be a school and kids, there's no teachers.
Wow. Well, so it's amazing, this intertwined, the way it's intertwined. So you became aware of it, and it got started because you got together with some other folks. I noticed you're co-founders, so you had a buddy or a partner that you said that let's do something.
Yeah, this really started about 12 years ago, and I had the chance to go on a short-term mission trip with my church, and it had nothing to do with engineering, but I saw 2 things that really stood out to me. One was extreme poverty. I've grown up in Ohio my whole life, and I haven't seen extreme poverty like I did in Central Asia. And then I saw also how people are using their occupations in mission. And I was working as an engineer, as you mentioned, at Battelle, and just thinking how I wanted to use the engineering, that the talent that I've been given to help others. And I found a lot of my colleagues had a very similar idea. And it's just totally volunteer. This was nights and weekends, brown bag lunches, and so forth. And I started talking to a missionary who works in the Central African Republic. So in the middle of Africa, one of the poorest countries in the world. And I asked him, what are the biggest problems that are facing you? And that's where he originally started telling me about water, and specifically water pumps that they only last a few months and break, and 6 months maybe, and often it takes weeks to get them fixed. And through that missionary, I met my co-founder, who was on the board of directors for that nonprofit. And the founder, he was talking about, me and these guys from Battelle, and my co-founder was working at a Johnson & Johnson company. And he said, you got to connect, you got to talk to each other.
Okay. Well, that's really neat. That's really neat, because when those pumps are broken, if you had a community that maybe had a teacher, they might want to leave. If you have a community that has animals, there's no water for the animals to survive, right? The gardens die if you can't water them, and so everything stops.
Yeah, and you might be surprised to know that up to 40% of hand pumps, which is the common way of getting safe water out of the ground, are broken. 40%
at any
one time.
Wow.
And on top of that, often pumps are only good for about 9 months a year, a large percentage, because the water actually drops below where the pumps can reach.
Wow.
So these people have to go back to the open springs that are contaminated, the rivers, and the poverty cycle just continues. There's not enough water, the water's contaminated, the amount of time it takes to get the bad water. This is why we got into water, because This is such a fundamental problem facing hundreds of millions of people, and something we could do something about.
Now, you have you have photos, and right now the video's not working, but I'll put it together later so people will be able to see this. So come Monday at some point, folks, if you want to rewatch this show, you'll see the photographs that Greg has provided, and one of them is a young girl holding up a glass of water that looks like mud, and that's the water they drink, right? Because they get it out of a mud hole if they don't have a pump.
Yeah, often the water, it's water that I wouldn't want to swim in, and certainly wouldn't want my kids to drink. It's
Right.
water that your mom tells you to stay away from.
Right.
And yet this is water that people are having to consume.
Because animals are in the same water?
There's animals in the water, there's just surface contaminants, open defecation. I mean, all these issues kind of contribute to this. And so safe water is a luxury in a lot of places, and we think it's a right that we need to help provide this basic right to people.
And there's a photo that people will see of this maybe 8-year-old girl standing on this big long handle on one of those pumps because she's too weak, she's too little to pull it down, so she's got up on top of it so her weight would push it down. And that was one of the challenges too. So some of the basic things that you discovered is that these developing countries have a lack of any source of water some places. They have a lack of year-round source because in the hot season the level of the water table drops and the pumps can't reach. And then also the difficulty in using the pumps. So that's where the engineering prowess came in, right?
Yeah, and you might be surprised to know that 90% of the world's technologies are only developed for 10% of the population.
Wow.
And this means that hundreds of millions of people are being left behind. And often these problems with the very heavy handles, the pumps that break down, these are issues that we can fix. And as we're celebrating the 50 years of man to the moon,
right.
That was a technological marvel,
right.
And yet we still have 840 million people who don't have safe water.
Wow.
And
wow.
engineering can help fix that.
That's about an eighth of the world population, right? Or close?
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, folks, we always do Dr. Kvitko's question of the day, and so we're going to do that now. But before we do, we'd like you to listen to this.
This station will not be held liable for any contesting during The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko. Participation in the contest allows Dr. Kvitko to record and broadcast your name and call. One winner per household. Prizes are non-transferable, cannot be substituted, and are subject to taxes and fees. This station cannot be responsible for the inability to enter the contest, whether due to equipment malfunction or telephone difficulties. All decisions of Dr. Kvitko concerning this contest or eligibility are final.
And now it's time for Dr. Kvitko's question of the day.
All right, today my guest is Greg Bixler, the co-founder and CEO of Design Outreach. Which of the following issues with access to clean water in developing countries did he and Design Outreach set out to solve? Was it A, a lack of any source of water, B, a lack of year-round source of water, clean water, C, a difficulty in using the existing pumps to access the sources of clean water, or D, all of the above? All right, the winner's going to receive free flowers from DeSantis Florist. They'll be delivered to your place of business this Tuesday afternoon. The number to call is 614-459-9769. That's 614-459-9769. So go ahead and call now.
You won't believe it though. I wanna hear your mind, and there's nothing else in the world tonight. She said people don't take the time. Hey, people don't take the time.
Hey, what's going on? It's Keith Carlos, winner of America's Next Top Model and star of Chocolate City 2. You can look for my smile courtesy of Dr. Kvitko on the CBS television network, where I play Danny on the hit soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful. Stay tuned to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, the world's most interesting dentist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kvitko, general dentist and host of the Reasons We Smile radio and roadshow. Did you know that you no longer need to visit several different dental professionals to get more complete dental care? We handle everything from cleanings and orthodontics to restoration, implants, and smile makeovers, all in my office. Get the most advanced technology and procedures available today. It's more complete dentistry.
Visit worldsmostinterestingdentist.com for more info about Dr. Kvitko.
Dr. Kvitko, let's go! Hi, I'm Johanna, and I've been a dental patient at Dr. Kvitko and Associates for over 10 years. I would really recommend Dr. Kvitko for your family's dental care. They're friendly. They're always there to help me. I feel like family when I walk in the door. It's clean, it's comfortable. Even if I have to bring my kids, they have a great playroom for them. I know when I'm with Dr. Kvitko, they are taking that extra time to make sure that I'm going to be the healthiest I can be. They've been great. I love them.
Call Dr. Kvitko and Associates today, 614-262-9588.
Hi, this is Richard Simmons. Dr. Kvitko's here, and he's going to help you with all of your problems. Are your teeth yellow? He can fix that. Are you missing a tooth? He can put a new one in. How is that?
That's very good. Thank you, Richard. we're back. We're doing Dr. Kvitko's question of the day. We have people on hold. Dr. Bixler, would you please pick a number between 1 and 4?
3.
Okay, we're going with 3. Okay, that would be Billy. Billy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling in. Do you have the answer to Dr. Kvitko's question of the day?
I do.
What is it?
D.
D, all of the
All
above.
the above.
Yeah. Hey, Billy, what do you do for a living?
I'm a buyer.
A buyer. What do you buy?
Everything for power plants.
Oh, really? For a power plant. Cool. Okay, so a lot of engineers work where you work, I bet.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, thank you for calling. Please stay on the line. We need to get the information as to where we can send those flowers from DeSantis, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, if you're just joining us, I'm Dr. Kvitko. This is The Reasons We Smile, episode 610. And with me in the studio is Dr. Greg Bixler, co-founder and CEO of Design Outreach. It is an engineering, volunteer firm, if you will. It brought a lot of engineers together to do this. And they've donated their time, and they've come up with an answer to these 3 problems that we described at the beginning of the show. And you call it the life pump.
Yes, the life pump is what we call the new hand pump that our team of engineers came together and developed. And what it does, it really solves 2 huge problems that we learned about from just a lot of extensive research and being in the field. We've been to a lot of communities now. And it goes 3 times deeper than other hand pumps. And instead of lasting only 6 months before needing repairs, we've had our longest running pumps going almost 6 years.
Wow. Wow.
And that means that people now have, because they can go deeper, they have year-round water access. They can hit more aquifers, which is why a lot of communities run out of water during the dry season, which is the hottest time of the year when you need the water the most. And this is transforming communities. And so we actually have these pumps now in 9 countries.
Wow. Name some of them.
So we started in the Central African Republic, then Mali, Zambia, Kenya, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Mali, Haiti. We just continue going and gain more interest.
Wow, that's really neat. So how deep did the old pumps go?
So the old pumps go about 150 feet, which is where they're really designed to work, maybe pushing maybe 200 feet. Our life pump goes to 500 feet.
Wow.
So that means that because it can go so much deeper, we can explore a lot more of sub-earth to find the water with our partners.
Over 3 times deeper.
Correct.
Wow. And now drilling the well, drilling the well, they already have, do you have to bring in the expertise to drill the well, or they already have that in these countries?
That's usually already available. So we partner with different NGOs and missionaries around the world, and often they have their own drilling equipment, or they contract with others that drill already. And what we do is we go and we do in-person training, so we want to build capacity and make sure that people know how to install and maintain the hardware long after we're gone. So we're just there as a trainer of trainers session.
Okay, and do you typically drill right next to the existing pump?
Often it's actually taking out the existing pump. So we developed our pump in places where the well itself is good, and the pump just keeps breaking down because it's very rural, it's hard to access. That's where we do like a retrofit, usually with a partner. So it's pulling out the old pump, putting in the new pump, and it's worked extremely well. In a lot of places, they are drilling new wells as well.
So you take the original well the shaft that was in use, and just drill deeper.
Usually that's difficult, but sometimes that can work depending on how the well itself was constructed with the lining and so forth.
Okay.
So it really kind of depends on the situation, the hydrology of the country, and what the needs of the communities are.
Okay. Okay, and then the other thing that makes this so special is the little kids don't have to stand on the handle and use their entire body weight to pull it. So explain the difference here.
Yeah, so the handle type pumps that most people are familiar with rely on a piston and some check valves and so forth. So when you push the handle down, you have to lift all the heavy drive rod, which is all metal, and the seals on the piston are usually what goes bad first. And that's a relatively cheap part, but the problem is those parts aren't available. So you're lifting the rod, you're lifting the water, and it gets very heavy after about 150 to 200 feet. And with a life pump, it's based on what we call a progressive cavity pump. And it's actually made in partnership with a company in Ohio, just outside Springfield. And it's a progressive cavity pump that it uses a rotor and stator. Instead of lifting the rod, it just turns and produces the pressure to get the water out. So it makes it much easier for kids to use, and we can make it easier for everybody.
And the visual is, it's like one of those bicycles that maybe a paraplegic might use, and they pedal their bicycle with their hands.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So it's like pedaling a bicycle with your hands, and so they turn the turn this thing. I'm doing it here in the studio. You guys can't see, but picture somebody turning the handles on a bicycle sitting, right? Or they're standing if it's a pump. And so it creates a siphon that's stronger and can go deeper.
And that's what allows just due to the design of it. And also we made it so that it's all made out of high quality components, which is one of the keys to longevity, is not to chins and make things cheap that break easily. And the value proposition is very high. So then within a few years, it pays for itself compared to even doing all the repairs and maintenance of the other pumps. And so that's why it's getting so much attention in countries around the world.
Now, did you guys patent this?
This is not patented.
Okay.
And part of that was due to budgetary restriction, constraint, and so forth. But part of it is our mission. If somebody can create the pump and make it better than us for less than we can, our mission's complete.
Right. Right.
And we're moving on to the next big problems.
Exactly. So they weren't trying to profit from it. In fact, if people copy it, you'd be happy because there'd be more pumps that don't break out there, and that would go deeper.
Absolutely. We're a collaborator. So we collaborate with suppliers. We collaborate with NGOs, universities around the world, and donors who help fuel this. This is donor-driven, whether it's donors for Design Outreach or donors for these other organizations that put in the pumps. But we want to collaborate and help those organizations be more successful and get rid of those 40% of the broken pumps.
Now, I should know this. I'm drawing a blank. Tell me what an NGO is.
Oh, sorry, non-governmental organization.
Okay.
So that's what we call a nonprofit.
Okay.
There's a lot of these organizations, big and small, that actually work in the communities.
Non-governmental organization. Okay, NGO. I knew it had to be something like that, but I was like, my brain was not making the connection. Sorry about that. Okay, so it looks like it's time to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the impact that you've had and what you see for the future. You're listening to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, with Greg Bixler in the studio, and we'll be right back.
You can't take me as I am, not just a little bit. I don't know who to be. I'm a paper cup, baby, of the sea. I know you see it too, 'cause you're too much for me.
This is Clark Kellogg. Stay tuned for more of Dr. Kvitko.
Estás escuchando con Dr. Kvitko aquí en su estación favorita.
Hi, I'm Dominique Reichert. Like what you hear? Why not use the show to promote your product or service by becoming a sponsor? Call 614-262-9588 to learn how. That's 614-262-9588. Call now.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kvitko, general dentist and host of the Reasons We Smile radio and roadshow. I've been honored to help several famous people get a perfect smile, like Keith Carlos and Dominique Reigard from America's Next Top Model, and Ted the Golden Voice Williams from right here in Columbus. Isn't it time you had a celebrity smile? It costs less than you might think, and most of the time, it can be done in one visit. A new smile can make a world of difference.
Visit worldsmostinterestingdentist.com for more info about Dr. Kvitko.
I'm Grandpa, and I go to Dr. Kvitko, and I still have all my teeth. Real ones. Where's my glasses?
If you're just joining us, I'm Dr. Kvitko. This is episode 610 of The Reasons We Smile. I'm very happy that in the studio with me is Greg Bixler, the CEO and co-founder of Design Outreach, an engineering group of folks that came together to create the life pump that is going to provide life-giving water to developing countries in 9 different countries so far. Now, you might wonder, why am I talking about this when this is a dental show? Well, it's very simple. This probably, like I said at the beginning, brings more smiles to more people than probably any other topic I could talk about. The other is if we don't have water, we don't need teeth, therefore we don't need a dentist, you know what I mean? And that's kind of a sad way of looking at it. And if you saw and you will if you watch the video on Monday or Tuesday, if you saw the glass of water that this little girl and this little boy are holding up, you wouldn't want to brush your teeth with that. You know, it's like, let's replace bacteria with bacteria, right? So anyway, that is, to me, the connection. Nobody would want to brush their teeth with this stuff. But with what Greg and his group Design Outreach are doing, they're getting crystal clear water for these folks. It's really neat. So what's new? Any new and exciting developments right here in Columbus regarding this?
There's lots of exciting things. We continue partnering with more people who see what the impact a life pump is. In fact, in the countries of Malawi and Zambia, we're really ramping up our operation and opening our first field office. And so far, we estimated reached about 35,000 people with safe water, and we're looking at in the next couple of years up to another 500,000 people as this thing scales. And as part of that scaling, we're actually moving into a new office in Gahanna, so we're local in Columbus, and it's just a wonderful thing to see the growth and more team members joining us, and the impact that we can have. And there are thousands of people smiling because of just the amazing volunteerism and the donors who've come together to make this possible.
Yeah, it's really neat. Like you said, they're made in Springfield, right? The pumps?
Well, one of the suppliers, yes.
One of the suppliers is in Springfield. Okay, and you have offices in Gahanna. And I would imagine money is always an issue, and am I right that you would be open for donations, or how can people help? Let's put it that way.
We're always looking for financial partners, people that feel called to this and want to make a difference with us. We have just an amazing group of people who have been behind us, and as we continue growing, and we're tackling a huge problem, and we need financial resources, and donors are really the bloodline of what is making this work. And so we pray that people would consider joining us, and we can reach more people in the world.
How would they do that? How do they reach out? How do they call? Do they email? Do they go to Facebook? What do they do?
They could do all the above. I would recommend going to our website, just Google Design Outreach, and there's ways to give there, ways to get in touch with us, and I would also recommend, as we have champions out there, to tell your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, people at church, your Rotary clubs, whatever groups of influence you have. It's about building the network, and the more hands we have, the more people we can reach.
Okay. Well, this seems like a super, super worthy cause, and Google Design Outreach, just like it sounds. There's nothing spelled funny. It's just Design Outreach, and figure out how you can donate, how you can cooperate, or just kind of join in. That would be really neat. So now, let's see, with the time that we have left, which is just 1 minute, I just wanted to see if there's a... Oh, okay. Interesting. I thought it was like a crazy story. You had to get approval from the government. Was it Mali?
Yeah, the government of Malawi? And Zambia as well.
They didn't... Like, apparently they're so used to pumps being put in that are inferior and they break, that you had an uphill battle just to get your pump approved to be installed, right? Even though it was like the best thing since sliced bread.
Well, we want to supplement the government's policies, which really regulate the technologies that can be used, so that the parts and people are available, and they took notice and have decided to include this as part of their policy, which is just super exciting. It's a gift to the people of Malawi. And it allows other organizations to use life pumps where they feel like they're most needed.
Okay, that's really awesome. It's really great. Well, hey, Greg, thank you and your buddies and all of the people involved for all of the great work that you are doing, and I hope that somehow being on this show will help further that effort.
Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you getting up early and being on with us. All right, folks, that looks like that is all the time we have. I want to congratulate the Buckeyes on their win yesterday, and the team up north, not so much. Didn't go so well, did it? All right, before, let me just see here. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I need to get in. But other than, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's at Dr. Kvitko. Visit my office Facebook page and like us. It's Dr. Kvitko and Associates. Remember that all past episodes, complete with video, are available at thereasonswesmile.com. Be sure to tune in next week and every week right here on your favorite station. Goodbye.
This is Carly Red from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the hit show on VH1, urging you to tune in next week with my dentist, Dr. Kvitko.
If you're interested in learning more about this and other dental health topics, go to thereasonswesmile.com to access full episodes of Dr. Kvitko's show.
If you'd like Dr. Kvitko, the world's most interesting dentist, to speak at your next event, please call 614-262-9588. That's 614-262-9588, or send an email